Hey guys, welcome to another Random Elf Battle Report. We're having one final practice round for Grail Quest, which is an upcoming tournament. It's just 2,500 points. You get 350 points of monsters from Storm of Magic or Monstrous Arcanum. It's a really fun build, but this was a pretty interesting game, so I wanted to share it with you guys. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Here's my list. If you've been watching my stuff, you're pretty familiar with it. It's pretty. I've been using the same one for a while. Um, for those of you who don't really care about Grow Quest practice, just imagine that there's not a Brood Horror and 4 Trolls there. But anyway, it's basically a Death Weaver. I have a Tree Man Ancient as my general, just basically as a backup caster and just a 18-inch Leadership 10 Inspiring Presence. He's actually a pretty good deal for all he provides, and his Tree Whack has actually managed to kill a couple of monsters. So hey, a bunch of Glade Guard, a bunch of Wild Riders, as much as I could fit into this comp. It's a Swedish comp event. This list ended up coming out at 15 even, so let's see how it can do. All right, here's deployment. On my side, as I said, it's meeting engagement. I have some I kind of have tucked away in this little corner back here with my forest. You know, I don't want to give him a really I want to create as much of a no man's land as possible, so to maximize how much shooting I do. But other than that, it looks pretty standard. Just got my tree man just barely touching the forest, and my spell weaver just barely touching the forest. And to the left, just to be clear, that those are the arcane bodkins archers. The guys at the bottom of the screen are the True Flight, and the guys on the right next to the Warhawk Riders are the Hagbane. This is my opponent's deployment. He actually deployed first, but I just took his pictures for second for some reason. He has an ogre list. As you can see, he's got a saber tusk over there next to a greater chaos spawn. That's what that little model is. Got some lead belters, some Mornfang cavalry. He's got a wyvern as another monster from the Storm of Magic. A couple more nobblers. His big old gut, Iron Gut Death Star. He's got a Fire Belly, a Slaughter Master, and a Bruiser BSB in there. So those guys are bad news. I don't know a whole lot of units in this point at this point level that could deal with that. So I definitely have my work cut out for me. And he's got an Iron Blaster, of course, and some more nobblers. Those are all the nobblers are trappers, just to be clear. All right, this is after my first turn. I actually was able to steal the initiative, which that was great. Uh, just basically kind of moved up a fort a little bit. I have those Way Watchers in that building there. I'm trying to bait a charge from any of his bigger units just to kind of maybe stall them up. You know, that's the great thing about 5-man units of Way Watchers. They're really big threats. But you can really throw them away. They're so cheap. That template is actually a purple sun. Unfortunately, he was out of range of all of my spells. So instead of just wasting my magic phase, I just went ahead and threw a purple sun through my Wild Riders. They passed all of their initiative tests, so that was great. I was hoping it would go a little bit further. Maybe if it didn't hit any ogres, at least it would stall them. But I think I rolled like a 4, so it went like 12 inches, and it's going to come back later in the game and do some fun stuff. But for now, at least it's keeping the ogres a little bit nervous, so maybe he won't do a full march. Alright, here's the picture of the far right at the end of my turn. I didn't mention it earlier, but he did have a unit of Mornfang that were scouting. He was trying to scout to the right of my Warhawk Riders, but I was able to just vanguard way out of their way. And I'm going to try to threaten this Iron Blaster. I know the Iron Blaster is a real tough thing to break, but it's a really big threat. And if I can get these guys into its flank, I bet I can break it. So I'm hoping to keep him nervous. And worst case scenario, I have his Iron Blaster tied up and distracted from trying to take down my Tree Man Ancient. Anyway, those Warhawk Riders vanguard forward into that river. Okay, this is just a shot of my army at the end of his turn. He does take the bait. He charges his Mornfang into the Way Watchers. I didn't mention earlier, but my shooting was pretty bad. I really didn't score. I scored like 2 wounds on his Mornfang with all of my combined shooting, Way Watcher shooting, and I think I actually got about 3 or 4 wounds on his Iron Blaster with poison. So that was great, but I mean, as long as it has 1 wound left, it's really still a big threat. So I really didn't accomplish a whole lot. But anyway, I bait that Mournfang charge. He charges in, has to dismount, and the Way Watchers are actually able to grab that one remaining wound on one of those Mournfang before they get just obliterated by the ogres. But that was great. So they ended up actually accomplishing their job, distracting the Mournfang and killing one. So that was great. However, Lead Belchers managed to kill some Wild Riders in a forest. Don't ask me how. And worst of all, my own Purple Sun scattered into my Brood Horror, who, even with Initiative 4, managed to die instantly. So I guess it kind of serves me right for using Purple Sun as kind of a crutch, but man, that's really disappointing. I am immediately down 210 points and from my own spell, so this is not good. All right, here's the right side of the board after his first turn. Um, as you can see, he moved that Wyvern over kind of as almost a redirector for those Warhawk Riders. I think he's wanting to bait a charge into that Wyvern, and he brings the Iron Blaster around to bear on my flank. Again, these are two really tough units, but I'm actually pretty happy with this. These Warhawk Riders are 135 points. They're basically a throwaway unit, but he's really worried about them, and I guess he has to be because his Iron Blaster is weakened, and he knows he can either lose it either to straight up combat or getting broke. So he's got this Wyvern over here distracting these Warhawk Riders. He brings the Iron Blaster around, hoping to just blast me with a flank shot down my lines, but fortunately he misfires, so he's unable to shoot. So that I'm having really bad luck elsewhere, but here I think things are kind of going the way I want them to. All right, here's the right side at the bottom of my next turn. I go ahead and I take the bait. I go ahead and charge the Warhawk Riders in. I guess I probably could have just danced around for a little while, but I thought maybe if I could pop this Wyvern, I could maybe cause them some panic tests, and I knew the Iron Blaster was just going to either blast me or charge me in next turn, so I might as well just kind of get what I could out of these guys. He ends up holding, but I do some wounds to the Wyvern, so that's great. I move my Way Watchers up to redirect that the Iron Gut star. He can't get around me, so he's gonna have to just charge me and then just bounce off that wall. So I'm pretty happy with that. Again, I'm just using these Way Watchers more as redirectors than actual really shooty stuff. So yeah, I'm really trying to recover from all these points I've lost already. All right, here's after his second turn. I forget how just great the Iron Blaster is at everything it does, but so it just charges in. It takes a risk. It runs through that river, but heck, it only has 2 wounds left. I mean, there's no really reason to try to preserve itself. So it threw itself into the Warhawk Riders. Between that and the Wyvern, it is able to kill them. The Man-Eaters who are on the right side have finally marched up. They're trying to get into the combat. They kind of had scouted themselves out of the game for the first couple of turns, so that was great. Otherwise, the Iron Guts clean up the Way Watchers and move forward. They're starting to kind of get into threatening range of the rest of my units. The Wild Riders, who have been just constantly peppered with shooting and magic, there's only 2 of them left, so they're actually going to. I think I'm moving them into bear, maybe to use as redirectors. Here's just a quick shot of the left side of the board. He gets his daggum saber tusk into the flank of my one of my archer units, and I do a wound to him, but I hold. Fortunately, he wins combat. I hold. I fail my reform test, so that really stinks. I got about 180 points of archers right there, just locked down by that little 21 point model. So that really stinks, and I have that greater chaos spawn just coming up all on me. So those guys are in a pile of trouble. I can't be too mad at this. At least I'm glad that they're pulling a lot of threat away from my center lines, which is really the kind of the gravy of my list. But I really wish these guys could do more. I think they got 1 round of shooting, and I don't think they did a single wound. So now I'm just about to lose a bunch of points for nothing. I did knock off some Lead Belchers with some shooting, and I think at this point I actually start maybe really unloading some shots into the Gut Star. You can't really see, but I have got some casualties on it. Alright, this is the bottom of my third turn, I believe. The Way Watchers, or the Arcane Bodkin's archers, are still just holding on, cannot pass a daggum reform test to save their life. But The Wild Riders go ahead and charge into those lead belchers and just obliterate them. They were really starting to do a number on me. He was just rolling really well with the lead belchers, and when lead belchers hit, they really hurt. Um, I knew the overrun path was going to be really dangerous because he had those Mornfang just waiting for those Wild Riders to come in. So I went ahead and put my Great Eagle, who'd been hiding behind that skull tower, and I just put it right in front of them to redirect them. This was really risky because if I didn't overrun far enough, he would be able to just kill the eagle and overrun into me anyway. But I was able to overrun far enough, get out of his charge, or to get out of his overrun path. So when he kills that eagle, he's going to be stranded without anything else to do. Also, as you can see, Bailey on the right side of the screen. That really weakened unit of Wild Riders, I move up and it uses another redirector on that Iron Gut Star. So here, and I know a lot of people may say, hey, why are you redirecting with your Wild Riders? Why don't you just charge in? But I mean, he's got a character wall on that Gut Star. 2 or 3 Wild Riders aren't going to do anything to those guys. I mean, they might get a couple of wounds, but they got toughness 5 and a bunch of wounds and awards. Each of them have a ward save. So I figured if I can buy a third turn of redirecting and another turn of shooting, that those Wild Riders would be well spent. Here's the right side. At the end of my turn, I am able to knock the Iron Blaster off with poison shots finally, so that's great. Everybody passes their panic test. I think I also knock off the Saber Tusk that was over there. The Wyverns had pursued those Warhawk Riders and is out in no man's land, so that's just a picture to kind of update you what's going on over there. Alright, here's the bottom of his third turn. Wyvern comes around and gets all up in my face. The Man-Eaters move in for the kill. The Iron Gut Stars take care of those Wild Riders pretty handily and are ready to do a fourth turn charge into me. So here's now it's time to really kind of get to work. And on the left side, the Greater Chaos Spawn makes short work of the Glade Guard. The Mornfang kill the Eagle and reform. They barely passed that panic check from that Eagle from earlier from the turn before. I was really hoping to panic them. That would have been great. But now I do have these guys to worry about. But I should be able to get away from there as long as I pass my march test. All right, here's my turn. As you can see, the Wild Riders pass their march test, get all the way around the Mornfang, and get into the rear of the Gut Star. I've moved the trolls up to try to basically bait a charge. I moved the tree man up to kind of to take an overrun if they kill and break those trolls, which I know they will. I put some shooting into that Wyvern. I don't do a whole lot to it, which really stinks. But most notably, as you can see, Purple Sun's back. Yay! I cast Purple Sun again. Irresistible Force it. Drain 3 levels and lose all the good spells just to have it only go forward 6 inches. So that really stinks. Again, Purple Sun just completely let me down here. I was really hoping to send it through that ogre line and just really kill it. This Purple Sun will come into effect later, but I did want to express my concern that it did not hit the unit, but it's not out of the game yet. Let me show you what happens. Just to update you on the left side of the field, as you can see, he has complete control over it. If you look at the bottom right hand corner of the screen, as you can see, I moved the Spellweaver out of the unit of Glade Guard. He was rolling really high on his Greater Chaos Spawn random movement. It moves 3d6, and he was moving like 14 inches and things like that. So I went ahead and got the Spellweaver out of that unit, since pretty much all of his shooting is gone. His Iron Blasters, Lead Belchers. I'm not really worried about the Nobblers, but they do have hand weapons or throwing weapons. But I went ahead and got the Spellweaver out because I did not want to get caught, pinned by those units that are approaching and then taken out. So this actually turns out to be a wise decision later in the game. All right, here's why the Purple Sun ends up being important. He didn't want to get any closer to it because he knew, it was only like an inch away from those trolls, and he knew at the end of his magic phase it was going to scatter again. So the Purple Sun actually scared him into not charging here. Now this ends up being really huge. and I can kind of see why he did that, because had that purple sun went through his unit, the game would have basically ended. I would have lost 140 points of trolls maybe, but he would have lost his general, his BSB, his wizard, everything. So I can kind of see that decision, and he had also gotten stubborn and regen off on his gut star. So I don't know if it was a wise decision. However, he kind of settled for gobbling up those Glade Guard with that Wyvern. Man, that Wyvern is just doing work. Between the Wyvern, I am able to kill a lot of the Man-Eaters with my stand and shoot, but the Wyvern and the remaining Man-Eater do manage to just obliterate those Glade Guards. So he is scoring a fair bit of points on me. I'm really needing to get some points back here. This is just him getting his moving up and getting ready for the kill. He knows he's about to score a bunch of points here. I have my BSB and my Spellweaver, the little red dot, at the top left corner of that forest, ready to get out of town. All right, and here comes the really big thing. He didn't charge the trolls, so what I just went ahead and sent everything I had into him, and he may have underestimated the Wild Riders, which is a really bad idea, but he did have stubborn and regen on the unit, so I think he was ready to just take his hits and weather it. I will say that he rolled an alarming amount of regen saves, and however, in return I also rolled past 3 out of 4 ward saves with my Wild Riders, who only have a 6-up ward save. So we both had a lot of luck in this combat, so he ends up sticking around. I don't take a whole lot of casualties, so this combat's going to go into another turn basically to decide the game, because there's a lot. All of our points are right here. Here, my Glade Guard reformed to just try to blast that Wyvern, who only has like 1 or 2 wounds left. I just basically give up on the Saber Tusk and Chaos Spawn there. I mean, there's no real point even focusing on the Saber Tusk only worth 21 points, and the Chaos Spawn has like a ton of wounds at toughness 8. I'm just never going to get it down, so I just go ahead and focus on trying to get points where I can. Alright, here we're starting to wrap things up. As you can see, the combat in the right, once his Stubborn and Troll Guts wore off, the remaining Wild Riders and Trolls and Tree Man just absolutely murdered that unit. I think the only thing left of it was the Fire Belly, actually, I think, and who ended up breaking and getting ran down. Despite all of my shooting and all of my magic, I am not able to get a single wound on that Wyvern. So he's still sitting on the 2 wounds he's had pretty much the entire game. So that's so now those poor Glade Guard are about to die. Fortunately for me, as you can see, that Spellweaver, who's been running for its life for the last couple of turns, gets to safety. I'm out of everybody's charge arc. And I have hard cover from those Nobbler hand weapons, or throwing weapons. So that's great. I may lose a lot of Glade Guard here, but at least I'm keeping my 300-point Spellweaver alive. So that's good. It ended up being a good decision to bail her out of that unit. Elsewhere, when I broke the big unit, the Mournfang who were getting ready to support, actually failed their panic check, and they didn't have any leadership. They were on their natural leadership 7, I think. So they failed, and they made a run for it. I think they ended up rallying before the end of the game, which is cool, but they are out of the fight. I think this is like the bottom of turn 5 at this point. And for my opponent's benefit, I go ahead and just show what happens when the Wyvern and the Chaos Spawn get into those Glade Guard. They put up a pretty good fight. I think they put 2 wounds or so on the. They do get poisoned from the Venom Thicket, but they just bounce off that Wyvern. And just get killed to the man. That's the last guy showing how bad it went. But anyway, that's the last slide of it. All right, the final score ends up being about a 2,000 to 1,500 point win for Wood Elves. That's before comp. This is an active comp event, so I think I'd actually get. I was about 2 points softer on comp than him, so I'd get like a 200-point bonus if that's how it works. Final thoughts: if you can't if you have just a massive scary Death Star, don't fight it. Just redirect it. I mean, I redirected it for 4 turns. I was able to get it down to a fightable unit, and then I hit it and broke it. So that redirectors really are super valuable. And I kind of wish I had brought more, but I know the Great Eagles are comped really hard. But hey, the Way Watchers did a fine job, and so did the Wild Riders. A depleted unit of Wild Riders will work well as long as I keep passing that frenzy test. Secondly, vortexes, they don't have to hit to be useful. If you get them in front of a unit, that unit has to stop. You can't willingly move through a vortex. So they can eat. So fortunately, the movement phase comes before the magic phase. So even if they're able to dispel it, they're stuck for a turn. So hey, that purple sun not only stopped that unit, but also just intimidated it into not doing anything really. Thirdly, bailing from a unit. I know it seems kind of a dumb idea, but if you can cripple your opponent's shooting, sometimes it's worth the risk to go ahead and hop out of a unit with a really expensive character and just let the unit go. That really ended up saving me 300 points. Had he gotten that Spellweaver, this game could have possibly been a tie. So that ended up being a really crucial decision. And I just kind of didn't even think about doing it. And finally, if when I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can dispel your own remains in play spells in your opponent's phase. I think at will. I could be wrong about that. Please comment if I'm wrong. But if there's no reason to let Purple Sun hang around if you don't need it to. So dispel it, especially if it's close to your guys. That ended up costing me 210 points out the gate on a unit that I really needed. I needed it to help fight that Gut Star. So that was a lesson learned the hard way, and I'll remember to do that moving forward. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.